Hello, in this video I will do an ACT math video on algebra regarding graphing inequalities. So yeah, after this lesson you will be able to identify the graph of an inequality, determine the inequality given a graph. Okay, so yeah, it's all about graphing inequality. So I just want to point out that when you are doing the real ACT, you do have access to Desmos graphing calculators. So you can actually put a lot of these in Desmos to save you a lot more time. But I will show you how to do it like without a Desmo, the Algebra way. So let's briefly go over some reviews. So dealing with inequalities, if you ever see a dark circle, you when use a closed circle or a dark circle for inequalities that has this symbol less than equal to or greater than equal to. So if you see these symbols, that's how you know you would use a dark circle, or you can also use brackets. Okay. If you see an open circle, you know your inequalities will have the sign less than or greater than. Okay. I will also believe you can also use parentheses. Okay. For x is less than 8 and x is greater than or equal to 8, use a closed circle. Sorry, it should be less than equal to. So yeah, like we said before, if there is an greater than or less than equal to, you use a dark circle. And for symbols x is less than 8 and x is greater than 8, you can use an open circle. For x is less than 8 and x is less than equal to 8, draw an arrow pointing to the left of the circle. So yeah, basically they're saying if you have a symbol less than or less than equal to, that just means you're moving the arrow to the left. And then for the symbol x is greater than 8 and x is greater than or equal to 8, draw an arrow pointing to the right. Okay, now that you have that information, let's do question one. So question one says, which of the following represents the solution to the inequality absolute value of 2x minus 5 is greater than 11? So we got to graph this and we got to figure out which one is the correct graph. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you by hand how to do this. So this is on a number line. This is not a Cartesian plane, so I don't think you can put this on Desmos, but this is how you would do it. So first, make sure there's nothing near the absolute value. There's nothing near the absolute value, so that's good. If there is, you got to get rid of it. And the next thing I have to do is make sure that this number is positive. Okay. If this was negative 11 and there's nothing near the absolute value, you can just say no solution. But it already satisfies the two conditions. There's nothing near the absolute value, and this number is positive. So now what you're going to do is write out your two inequalities. So the first one will be basically this without the absolute value. And then the second one is going to be 2x minus 5. And then all you got to do is flip the sign. So it's going to be less than negative 11. Okay, go ahead and solve for x. You're going to add 5 to both sides. Add 5 to both sides. You get 2x is greater than 11 plus 5 is 16. Divide this by 2. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Okay. Now over here, do the same thing. Add 5. Add 5. You get 2x is less than negative 11 plus 5 is negative 6. Divide this by 2. X is less than negative 3. Okay, so now we have our two inequalities. Now you put it on number line. So how you do this is put the larger number on the right and the smaller number to the left. So my larger number is 8 and my smaller number is negative 3. Okay. And then look at the symbols. This does not have the equal sign, neither does this. So they're all going to be open circles. So 8 is going to be open circle, -3 is going to be open circle. And then just follow the symbols. So for 8, it says greater than, so you're going to move the arrow to the right. For the -3, it says less than, so you're going to move the arrow to the left. And as you can see, the correct answer shall be letter A, right? Hold on, let me see if this is full screen. Okay, that's much better. Okay. Question 2. For the number line shown, which of the following inequalities describes the range of the possible values for some number W? Okay, so this time they give you a graph and we got to figure out the correct inequality. So, is there any ones you can eliminate? Uh, Unfortunately not yet. Why can't, oh, there is one you can eliminate off right now. So F, G, H, and J, and here's K. So which of those are the correct answer that gives you this answer, this graph? There is one you can eliminate. Which one? You can eliminate H. Why can I eliminate H? Because remember we said that if this number is negative and there's nothing near the absolute value, it would be no solution, right? So you can eliminate H. So it's either F, G, or J, or even K, right? Okay, let's look at F. So let's just briefly try it. So there's nothing near the absolute value. This number is positive 2. So what you do is write out your two inequalities. So it would be, my first one will be W minus 2 is less than equal to 2. And the other one is going to be W minus 2. Flip the sign, so it's going to be greater than or equal to -2. Okay, solve for W. So I'm going to add 2 here, add 2 there. W is less than or equal to 4. I automatically can stop there and just say no more. Why? Because do you see any of our X W values as 4 on this graph? No. Okay, let's do G. So G, there's nothing near the absolute value. This number is positive, so write out your two inequalities. So it'd be W minus 2 is less than or equal to 4, and then the other one is W minus 2. Flip the sign, so it's going to be greater than equal to -4. And then you're going to solve for W. So I'm going to add 2. So you get W is less than or equal to 6. Same thing here. You're going to add 2. You get is W is greater than or equal to -4 plus 2 is -2. Is this in our range? No. We are, this is a -6. We got a +6. It's just, this is a no. So you could forget about that. Now let's do J. So there's nothing near the absolute value. This number is positive, so it's going to be W plus 2 is less than or equal to 2, and then the other one is W plus 2. Flip the sign, so it's going to be greater than or equal to -2. Okay, so go ahead and solve for W. So I'm going to subtract 2. This is 0, and then over here subtract 2. And as you can see, this is wrong because our range is from -6 to 2, or 0 to -4. So you can forget about J. Think it is K, so it has to be K, but if you don't believe me, let's see. It would be W plus 2 is less than or equal to 4, and then W plus 2. Then flip the sign so it's less than greater than, it's equal to -4. Okay, so go ahead and solve for W, so you're gonna subtract 2. So you get W is less than or equal to 4 minus 2 is 2. Here, you're going to subtract 2. You get W is greater than or equal to -6. And as you can see, our range is from -6 to 2. And they both have a equals. If you look at the symbol very carefully, it has an equal sign. So that's how you know you're going to use a dark circle. Okay. So it is letter K. Okay, question 3 says, which of the following system of inequalities includes the shaded region in the graph? Oh, and I forgot to show it, there should be a shading right here. So sorry. Okay. So here's our graph. It looks like we have some kind of vertical line at x equals, or x is -2, right? Do you see this dashed line? It's a vertical line, so I know it's going to be x, and then it's going to be because it's a dashed line, it's not solid. It's either going to be greater than equal to, it's greater than, or I think it's going to be greater than -2. And the reason why I put greater than, because when you have a vertical line and you don't really have to worry about testing a point, you just follow wherever the symbol is. Okay, the second one is definitely a linear equation, so it's going to be y. And how can we figure out this equation? So this is an inequality, and I think I think it's going to be, it's a solid line. Do you see the solid line? It's not dashed. So it's either going to be less than equal to or greater than equal to. I think it's going to be less than equal to. That's my guess. And then how do you find the equation of this line? Well, how do you find the equation of any linear line? So it's y equals mx plus b. Do we have the b? Do we have the slope? Let's see. The b is 1. Y-intercept is 1. And my slope is, let's see. Can we figure it out? So I think it's going to be, if you look at this very carefully, here's 2. And then if you go up to 1, 2, and then left 1, I think our slope is going to be -2. So it's going to be -2x plus my b value, which is 1. Okay. So, I mean, if you don't really, okay, so if you don't really believe me, you could put this in decimal, but let's look, this is why they did the shading. So x is greater than -2. You draw the vertical line, right? There's -2. It's going to be a dashed line. And then it says greater than. So you just follow the symbol. So if it says greater than, you make that arrow to the right. Now, this one, just graph it as if it was like y equals -2x plus 1, right? You know the slope is 1, and your b is 1 and your slope is -2 over 1. So what you could do is go up to 1, 2, and then left 1. You could also go down to 1, 2, and right 1, right? And then because it's a solid line, you're gonna do a dash line. I mean, because it has an equal sign, you're gonna do a solid line like this. Okay. Then what you do for the shading is so over here, this one, so the shading is where they both meet. So you might have to erase part of stuff. But yeah. So how do we do the shading for this one? So this one's already given. If it's a vertical line and you just follow the symbol, it says greater than, so you're gonna move it, you're gonna shade everything to the right. Or yeah. This one, what you would do is what I would do is pick a point that the line does not go through. And I like to use the origin, 0, 0. So if I put this point back into the inequality, and if that statement is true, you're going to shade at that point. If the statement is false, you shade on the other side. So what I mean is, if I'm going to use the origin 0, 0, I'm going to replace x with 0 and y with 0. So I'm going to replace this y with 0. And I'm going to replace this x with 0 and then plus 1. And then it's going to be 0 is less than equal to 1. Is this statement true? Is 0 less than equal to 1? So here's 1. Here is 0. Is 0 less than equal to 1? True, right? 0 is definitely less than equal to 1. So what you're going to do is use the point 0, 0, and because it was true, you're going to shade on that side. So you're going to do a dark shade here because remember the shading is where they all meet. And then you might have to erase some parts. So I think we don't need this part because they don't meet everywhere. So go ahead and erase this. There you go. There's your shading. So it looks exactly like this. So that is why it's letter. That is why it's letter B. Okay. So yeah, but if you could just literally put this in Desmo or can no, or if what I would do if you have access to Desmo is test each one, put it back. Like for example, put A in Desmo, and if it gives you this graph, that's the one. So that's how I would test it on Desmo. Okay, question 4. It is a multiple choice. It says graph, but I didn't put the multiple choice in because okay, so question 4 says graph 2, y minus x is less than 3 in standard xy coordinate plane. So how do you do this? Can you put this exactly in Desmo? Well, yes, but not yet. What you got to do first is kind of have to get y by itself, right? So over here, I'm gonna have to add x here. So there's three sides. There's the middle part, the right side, and the left part. I mean, yeah, for the left side. So I'm gonna add x here, add x there, and I'm also gonna add x here. So you get x plus 2 is less than y, and then is less than x plus 3. So now you have two inequalities. The first one is simple. This one is could be written as y is less than x plus 3. And then the other one, remember, this one is always backwards, so it's really y is greater than x plus 2. And then from here on, you can graph the inequality. You could put this in Desmos, or if by hand, for example, if you want by hand, how do I graph this? Well, we know the slope is 1. We also know our b is 3. And what else do we know? Is this going to be solid or dash? It is going to be dash, right? Why is it dash? It's because it doesn't have an equal sign. Here, the same thing here. What is my slope and what is my b? My slope is 1 and my b is 2. And this is also dash because it does not have an equal sign. Okay, so use those information to start graphing. Okay, so okay. So over here, let's graph this one. So my b is 3, so here's 3, and my slope is 1. So what you're going to do is here's b, slope is 1, so you go up 1, right 1. You could also go down from the b value. You can also go down 1 and then left 1. And what else? We said that this is going to be dash, so you could put a little dash. And then for the shading, what you want to do is pick a line that does not go through. So I always like to use the origin 0, 0. So I'm going to replace my y with 0, I replace my x with 0, and then this is going to be 0 is less than 3 is a statement true or false. Here's 3, here is 0. Is 0 less than 3? Yes or no? Yeah, it is true. 0 is definitely less than 3. So what we do is we pick the point 0, 0 right here. We said that was true, so you're gonna do a light shade down there. Because remember, you're gonna have to erase stuff. So this is gonna be, and then it's good to label it. So this is gonna be y is less than x plus 3. Hey, let me use another color. So the other one is y is x greater than x plus 2. So we also know, so we know our slope is 1 and our b is 2, and we also know it's dash. So here, go up 2, and our slope is 1. So go up 1, right 1, down 1, and then left 1. Uh, and then what else? And then down 1, left 1. Connect the dots. Oh, okay. So these are parallel lines. I didn't even know this, but they are, why are these? Yeah, they don't have a solution. They'll never intersect. And wait, what is this? This is also dash, sorry. So put a little dash line on a solid line. And then what you're going to do is pick a point that the line doesn't go through for this one. As you can see, it does not go through the origin, so you definitely can use 0, 0. And here's your x, here's your y, and then put it back into the inequality. So my y is 0 is greater than 0 plus 2 is 0 greater than 2 is 0 greater than 2. Here's 2, here's 0. No, that's false, right? 0 is definitely less than 2, so it's false. So what we do is, so we use the point 0, 0, we said it's false, so you're going to shade here. And you're going to put a dark shade here and erase everything else because this is where the dark shade is where they both meet. Okay, so erase this, and this. Okay, so that was question 4. Let's do the last one. Question 5. If the following number line shows the range of the possible values for some number b, which of the following inequalities shows the same possible values for b? So this is just like the one we just did before. They give us a line, uh, our inequality graph, and we got to figure out the correct one. So it's just right. Look at all the choices. Is there anything we can eliminate? Not yet. Yeah, we can't eliminate anyone yet because look at all these numbers, the constant, for example, this one is positive. This two is also positive, right? There's nothing near the absolute value, and this is positive. Same thing with B, nothing near the absolute value. This is positive. Same thing with C, nothing near the absolute value. This is positive. So we can't eliminate one, right? They're all good, or they all could be a good choice. So I taught you in the other one, I taught you the long way. You just test each one, and uh later, yeah, okay, and what else? What was I good? Oh yeah. So the faster method is to think of the absolute value as a distance. The center of the shaded region is -1 plus 5 over 2. So what you could do is the center of the shaded region is so what you could do is take the average of the center. So you could do -1 plus 5 over 2. So that's 4 over 2. And with -1 and -5 each with 3 units. Therefore, the distance between B and 2 must be less than or equal to 3. So that means it's going to be absolute value B minus 2 is less than 3. And then what you could do is set it up like this: -3 is less than equal to B minus 2 is less than equal to 3. And then when you actually solve for B, we'd have to add 2 here, add 2 there, add 2 there. So that's how I know this is correct. So that correct choice will be letter D. Okay, so what I did was what I could do so with without testing each one, what you could do is take the average between the two center points. So our two center is -1 and 5. So I took the average of that and I got 2. And then -1 and 5. So between the points -1 and 5. So this would be how many? So let's pretend this is -1. This is 0. This is 1. This is 2, 3, 4. That's how many units? 3 points from the center. So the center was 2. So right from -1 to 2 from the center, that'd be 1, 2, 3. That's 3 points. So that's how I got 3 right here. And then this is how I got B minus 2 because that is the center, right? +2. So yeah, that's a little quick shortcut you could have done. And that's your answer. Okay, I'm going to stop here.